Hey everyone, Joshua Johnson here. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I share my 3-year review of the Hilleberg Akto, a one-man, 4-season backpacking tent. I share with you my Akto's likes, limitations, and I'll give my recommendation on whether or not I think you should get one too. Let's get started. Firstly, my 3 main likes. Number 1, quality. Hilleberg tents have developed a reputation for top-shelf materials and craftsmanship, and I've certainly found the Akto to be in line with this reputation. The siliconized nylon they use to make their tents is some of the best in class, and their aluminum poles made by DAC are sourced from an industry leader. Also, Hilleberg's attention to detail tends to set them apart from their competition, such as their use of YKK zippers, aluminum tent pegs, and high-quality guy line. You know, quality itself can be a bit of a tricky concept in that it can be difficult to define while at the same time somehow being intuitive. In fact, a famous author once had a mental breakdown from overthinking this very concept. If you've ever used a Hilleberg tent, you'd know what I mean about quality in that it's experiential, and you know it when you see it. Number 2, the Akto is versatile and quick to set up. As the tent inner and outer go up together as one unit, and the Akto only has one pole to install, setup is fast and easy. It's sturdy enough for most situations, and the enormous ventilated vestibule means that you can store all your gear inside, away from the elements, and even cook indoors while still laying in your sleeping bag. This is something I really appreciate when the temperatures are below freezing. In fact, this feature is a big reason why I bought the tent. Number 3, the tent is reasonably light. At only 1.7 kg or 3.75 pounds without the footprint, the Akto has a surprisingly favorable strength to weight ratio. If you include the footprint, this brings the total weight to about 2 kg, but this inclusion gives you great multi-pitch options for the tent. When the bugs aren't too bad, I set up the Akto using the fly and footprint only, without the yellow inner. This brings the tent weight down to about 1 kilogram. I've also got a mesh inner for the tent as well, which is a great option for summertime or wet weather when ventilation is important. And now, the Akto's limitations. Number 1, perhaps the most obvious limitation is cost. This one is a bit self-explanatory, but at $600 USD at the end of 2021, this tent is extremely expensive. And so at this price point, I would expect it to be no less than extraordinary. Number 2, tent setup is dependent on guy lines. The tent is clearly not freestanding, so this means that having suitable ground conditions is crucial. Without something to anchor into, you just can't use a tent. Period. Though to be fair, so long as you have extra tent pegs and slings that you can use to create T-slots and deadman anchors, this is rarely a problem. In fact, the only situations I've encountered where the Akto couldn't be used is on smooth, featureless bedrock or bulletproof frozen ground that's devoid of usable snow, both of which you can come across in northern Minnesota. Number 3, ventilation and condensation. This is easily the most significant issue with the Akto. Despite the door vent and the permeable fabric at head and toe ends of the tent, the Akto does have condensation issues as the outer fabric extends all the way to the ground and tends to prevent air from moving along the inside of the fly. Sometimes what makes something an asset in one environment can make it a liability in another. It's all situationally dependent on what conditions you are using the tent in. Ideally, the Akto requires a stiff breeze with the head or tail end of the tent pointed into the wind. This will ensure adequate ventilation over the tent's surfaces and reduce condensation. Number 4, as you can see by this video, the Akto is a bit too short for my unusually long torso length, and so I have to remain hunched over while sitting in the tent. Keep in mind, these things are always a compromise, as a taller tent would also mean it's heavier and less strong, as it would have a larger wind profile. Also, the 4 corner poles in the Akto are made of fiberglass, and at this price point, I'd expect something more robust, such as aluminum. It's also a bit difficult to remove the corner poles without breakage concern. For this reason, I tend to leave them in place, and thus, the tent doesn't pack down as small as it potentially could. By the way, before I go any further, if you find you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And now the verdict. The Hilleberg Akto is tied for first place for my all-time favorite solo backpacking tents. It's extremely versatile, high quality, easy to use, and lightweight. If it's within your price range and what you're looking for is compatible with what I've just discussed in this video, I would absolutely recommend the Akto. Also, if cost and comfort are more your focus, my other favorite solo tent of all time is the MSR Elixir 1, but I'll save that for another video.